Hello, and welcome to the Irish Gauge podcast. How are we all doing, fellas?
We're doing pretty good. We've got a special guest with us today.
Hello.
Our first guest in the podcast.
Yes.
We've got Gary with us, our good friend Gary. How's it going, buddy?
Not too bad, Dave. Thanks for having me.
Aye, yeah, I heard you were eager enough to get on.
I've been looking to this for a while now.
Uh-huh.
Just can't really seem to get it off the ground, but
Aye, no, lad, we're happy enough now to get a few people on every now and then. That we're trying to shoot Vesty out of the road here. I think.
Nah, that's
This
like
is how we get rid of him.
training up replacements.
Yeah.
Training up replacements.
No, this is how we're getting rid of you, Vesty. So when you listen to this,
I've taken your place, Vesty.
I want you to know. This is how it ends for you, big man.
Supplanting you.
Aye. So
More time with the sheep, Vesty. It's all looking out for you.
I'm going to thoroughly enjoy when Vesty has to go off and do a bit of lambing. And,
Right
we're
enough,
without
he's
him.
going to be far too busy for this year.
Aye, that's how we get rid of him, boys.
Mm.
So we're covering our nerd culture section tonight. Another one of the books here, fellas. And Tom, this has been the one that you've been clamouring for since we started this.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I can't wait.
Yeah, we've decided to do our favourite. Basically, we're doing this because Tom wants to talk about Predator.
Aye.
It's our favourite 80's action movie.
Yeah.
And we've all Tom's talking about Predator. We don't know what you're talking about, Christopher. You've kept it.
It was almost going to be Die Hard, and then Die Hard wasn't on Netflix, so it wasn't Die Hard.
Okay. Jazz, I think we know what you're doing, but we'll keep it. We'll maybe start off with you, Tom.
Start off with me.
We'll give you the majority of the time here.
Right,
Because you know
okay.
what? I've noticed that Vesty does this too. He gets in there first, then he gets more of the time than everybody else, I reckon,
I think that is more to do with the fact that he just faffs and talks until eventually we're like, Jesus, maybe one of us should jump in now before this podcast
Is
goes
this how we're going
over.
to start each section, just by slagging off Vesty?
Yeah, this is what we do here.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. So, Tom,
You want me to start?
Predator.
Predator, lads. What do you even say about this film? It is. Yeah, getting there.
Well, at least you filled the Vesty shaped making sound effects / weird
Accents.
weird accents
Yeah.
in the podcast. Lad.
Yeah, it's no secret at all. I'm airing it out to the world now. Predator is the greatest 80's action film ever put to screen.
I do love me some Predator. Tell me why it's the greatest.
It is the greatest simply due to the fact that it stars Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he's going up against quite possibly the greatest ever alien character that's been put to film.
Xenomorphs are better.
Huh?
What?
Oh no. Totally disagree there. I'm just gonna do like a little bit
What
of
about the
background.
bugs from Starship Troopers?
Brilliant film.
Yeah, well,
Brilliant
yeah.
film.
May or may not be connected to the film, right?
I am. I'm just gonna do a little bit of a background check here.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the first time I ever seen this film. I was about 12, 13 years old. I just called into my cousin Sean's house, and he just happened to be he just happened to be watching it, and he was with somebody or whatever, and I walked in, and immediately it just sort of like I was transfixed. I don't know what scene I must have walked in on, but it was fairly early in the film.
Yeah.
I'd missed maybe the opening 5 minutes or whatever, but you don't really miss that much. But yeah, it's the scene where they're literally just shoppering into the jungle.
Yeah.
Little Richard, Long Tall Sally, great song.
Of course.
But yeah, just like from that very scene, just the 6 or 7 guys that are all just in the helicopter, just spatting shit
Ultimate
back
tough
and
guys.
yeah,
So
like
much
you know,
testosterone.
like Jesse the Body Ventura. This thing will, or this stuff will make you a goddamn sexual tyrannosaurus, just like me.
He had a good glove in the 80s, didn't he? Like,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
the running man and all. Like, that's...
He was
Yeah.
a professional wrestler too, like
Yeah, he
on,
was,
uh,
yeah.
AWA
He was
too.
governor or something.
Yeah, he was governor
Yeah.
as well. Aye.
He'll probably be remembered more as a commentator for the WWE, like. But,
He was a good commentator too.
yeah, but
Conspiracy theorist.
You like that, Dev?
He's a
you
little
like
bit-
that,
I've heard a few books.
he's a bit of a mad one, like. But
I like Jesse,
from that scene, lads, I just was hooked I had called in to visit Sean, like, and I had every intention of calling in, and then if he wasn't free or whatever, I was just going to go about my merry way.
Mhm.
But anyways, this film was on, and I had to sit. I don't know what it was that made me sit, but I am so glad that I did.
What age were you?
12, 13, give or take.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But, like,
that's
prime
exactly,
predator
that's,
video.
that's exactly what you need.
What amazed me about this film was, like, I have quite a high threshold for, like, horror and like elements of that such in films. Like,
Yeah.
Horror.
I could sit and watch the Insidious films and everything and not jump once and not be afraid, and I'm not acting like a big tough guy here,
Mhm.
but it just, that stuff doesn't bother
I
me.
have got certain things like slashers and stuff never get me. It's the like
Mhm.
I'm kept for the like I don't know what way the haunted like
Supernatural.
supernatural type ones. They scare the
Paranormal
absolute
stuff like that there. Yeah.
scares the crap out of me.
See, that stuff, it just does not bother me. But whatever it was about this film, lads, it just had me hooked. But also, like, on the edge of my seat, like, whatever it was, just the whole build up throughout the film. Now, I know,
There's good tension in Predator.
like, I've obviously have since went back and watched this film multiple times. I probably watched this film
Frame
at
by
least
frame.
a good 2 or 3 times a year.
Yeah.
I watched it last night, just in preparation for this here.
Yeah, you did send us a
But,
snap of that.
as I say, on my repeat viewings, I didn't realize that at the start of the film you actually get like an insight. You see like a spaceship approaching Earth, and then something being jettisoned into the Earth atmosphere or whatever. So clearly, like from the get go, you know it's going to be an alien, but you don't quite know what it looks like or whatever. And it was that element that really had me like transfixed on this film because I think the film's about maybe the guts of 45 minutes to 50 minutes, maybe close to the hour mark. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
I don't do times or anything like that there, but yeah, up until that point, you don't know what this thing looks like. You just get like its solitary vision, which is heat,
Yeah.
and it shows like basically the commando unit led by Arnie.
Mhm.
And oh my god, lads, like this.
It's always that. It's that thing with me too. When I be watching like horror films and stuff, it is that. I'm always like afraid of like the supernaturally ones, and then I don't be as soon as I work out what they are.
Hmm.
It's that like not.
Suspense.
It's not that. It's not knowing what it
development of
is.
suspense,
It's
Well, like,
not seeing it.
That's the whole thing with Predator. You're basically
It's the whole thing about Jaws.
you know about as much as they know. In
Yeah.
the film, yeah.
I love that so much. Like, I mean, even to this day, watching it, I still, maybe not to the same extent because I've watched it over and over and over again, and I know what's coming. But it's just that like sense of dread and impending doom because you know what's about to happen to these guys. You just don't know when. You just don't know how. But like when it kicks off, this film kicks off.
Mm-hmm.
You could maybe argue that the opening parts of the film's not really that interesting, but I disagree because all of this film's great.
Yeah.
Right, like from the very get go, like even like the legendary handshake between
Oh,
Dylan and
They're so oily.
Yeah.
but it's
So
so
very
good.
good.
Can you
Like,
imagine, can you imagine being like the intern or someone off on the side of the set, like, we need you, oil boy, and he's like coming on, slathers Arnold and Tara Wells with the oil, like, can you imagine, like,
Arnie probably had just.
They're well used to it at that stage. Arnie was slapping himself
yeah.
covered in tan and oil and the ladies for.
Believe it or not, Arnie actually trimmed down for this film, which was actually a personal choice of his.
I heard that. I heard that he was
he's got a habit of doing that by in the research I was doing for.
Now that's not to say that he's
with
not.
Conan. He was told that he was like nearly too big or something.
Yeah,
Or,
that's not to
I think-
say. Now you watch this film, you see the size of his arms.
Oh, aye.
Little wee
His arm-
offshoot fact
oh,
here: Jesse the Body Ventura was so pleased that his arms were bigger than Arnold's during the course of this film, only to find out that Arnold had been playing a trick with the crew, and apparently like had lied that Jesse's arms were bigger than Arnold's or whatever. Just
there's
a,
so much testosterone.
Ah,
in
there's
this
so
film.
much, there's so much. But like,
That film is like Vince McMahon's wet dream.
Aye, well, that's true. Well, you can see why he liked
you know,
Jesse.
even down to like where this film started, like it's amazing. Like it started off as a joke. Like, well, sorry, the origins of this film started off from a joke.
Right.
Basically, what had happened was Rocky IV had just been released, and there was this joke in Hollywood going about that the next person or thing that Rocky would fight would be an alien because he had fought everybody on Earth
Fair point.
that was possible. That
Yeah.
was. And Jim and John Thomas, the two screenwriter brothers, they had like decided, you know what, we like this, we're going to run with this, and then they penned basically what was the original idea for the film, which at the start was called Hunter. It only became Predator like months into the actual production
Right.
of the film. Like,
looked
so
at it as
it was a
source.
very late development. And also, which is really weird and probably not known to many, but the person that was going to play the
Yes,
Hunter
yes.
/ Predator was actually Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I have so much. That movie would be infinitely better.
No, no, it would not.
Van Damme.
No, no, no,
was
no,
the
no, 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 no.
Predator.
Because I was just
One of the
about to
best
go on
ever.
and say, you need to see all this like footage that they shot that didn't make it into the film. You need to see the creature, and
That's terrible.
he looks like a big red lobster.
I would be so much happier if it was
No,
Jean-Claude
no,
Van Damme.
no, no, no.
I have so much
No,
love for
Mr. Claude
Jean-Claude
Van
Van Damme.
Damme, just.
No, okay.
I like really bad martial arts movies. I love them. They're unbelievable. I love Steven Seagal. I love all of Jean-Claude Van Damme's work, even the ones.
Steven Seagal.
Love it. Absolutely love horrendously bad martial arts movies.
Well, I disagree. I'm quite glad
Apparently
what
he might be
happened.
serving a jail sentence soon, so good luck, Steve.
But anyways, they moved on, and then they got legendary FX creator Stan Winston. You know, rest in peace. He brought in like his technical marvelance to this film. They created what eventually became the Predator that we know,
Mhm.
and you know, yeah. But I've lost my trail of thought here.
Okay.
But anyway, no, I'm gonna like cut into like a few things here.
It's definitely we were sort of talking just beforehand with your one, Gary.
Right.
Predator kind of does stand the test of time when we touch, but maybe it had a bigger budget and stuff. I'm not too sure of the budgets
See,
and that.
that's the thing. The budget actually was quite modest for
Mhm.
the time. Like for the time, and even now, it was averaging from 15 to 18 million.
Okay.
And you know, for the film that was produced, I think that's pretty amazing because, like, yeah,
Not
you
that
know,
many locations and stuff. Like,
yeah,
so the budget didn't really have to.
literally
Yeah, well,
the
that's
co-
true too. Yeah.
the conversation we just had off air there about RoboCop and it maybe not holding up.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you could watch Predator now. Now, yes, you could sort of see through some of the effects and maybe it's a wee bit ropey looking now. But for the most part, I think it really holds up. It's kind of got that Star Wars effect for me.
It does. Like the actual Predator itself holds up pretty well.
Yeah,
The
like the
iconic
actual
Predator
camouflage.
is
And everything.
iconic.
Yeah.
Oh, it is. The whole movie's just great. Like, I love even the final scene whenever Arnie's like kicking on the Predator.
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
and it's just Arnie and the Predator left, and he's injured, and he like just puts all the dirt over him so the Predator can't see him. And
yeah. Oh no,
he becomes the hunter of the Predator. And it's like, Arnie, you're a badass. Go here and hunt that Predator, Arnie.
They don't do action movies like that. Bar John Wick, they don't do action movies like that anymore.
Right enough, that is like probably the most recent. Kind
But 80's action movies are completely over the top. Like 90's action movies are a lot more serious and things. Like it's still a bit over the top, but 80's action movies are just very over the top.
Oh,
Yeah,
in
so
the
they
best
steer
possible
into
way.
it. They
Like,
steer into
Do you
it.
think that's like a factor at the time, or just the fact that the producers and the writers were like high on cocaine at all times? Or?
Well, there's that too.
I was going to discuss Die Hard, and Die Hard is full of cocaine. To be honest.
But yeah, this film for me is just legendary status at this point. Like I can't honestly like. I'm probably not doing as much justice to this pitch as I originally had sort of foreseen myself doing.
Yeah.
But like I just can't get over enough just how great this film is from start to finish. I love it. It's
If
in
any
my
listeners out
top.
there haven't watched Predator,
Who
you
the
do
hell
yourself
hasn't
a
watched-
favor and go watch Predator.
Yeah,
Bestie
please
probably
do.
hasn't watched Predator.
This is why we're getting digs in at Bestie consistently here. I like this.
It's the tension that's built right from the very start, right to the very end. You know, you just don't know what way the film's gonna go. The way the guys get taken out one by one, it just like it enthralled me. Like I could not stop watching, and it's why this film has like stuck. It's ingrained in me now. Like I was just about to say it, and I'm gonna say it now. It's in my top 5 films of all time.
That is so strange.
Yeah, I stand by it. I
Yeah,
mean,
But you're like the biggest,
that's-
like in-depth, like especially when it comes to Star Wars things like that. There, you are like the most like into like minutia, and
Yeah.
although sometimes you need a movie like that there to just switch off and that.
Yeah.
But,
this
Oh,
very much for me.
Predator is an excellent movie. Like, I maybe wouldn't put it in my personal top 5, but it's a great movie. Like,
Great
I can
hangover.
understand why
This,
people.
this is the film
have it in their
where
top
you
five.
get yourself a Chinese and a few
Mhm.
beers and you just chill out and you watch this and you adore the machismo coming out of the film. It
Or
just
for the
oozes
hangover
out.
Sunday, whenever you have nothing else to do, you decide I'm going to put this on and tune in and out of it because I've seen it 55 times.
And
Just
I mean,
lie there and feel sorry for myself and watch Predator.
it goes without saying, this is by far the most quotable film of all time.
Get to the chopper.
I literally would challenge anybody.
Comes with the territory. That's what basically half Arnold's career is.
Yeah.
One later.
So much of it was improvised as well,
Mhm.
which to me just it really helps this film like cement itself within the genre, because it is kind of sci-fi as well. Maybe lends itself a wee bit more to the action sort of.
Well, it's hard. It's hard. There's multiple genres in this Carry On that we're doing. Obviously, mine's sort of across two genres.
So is mine.
But tasty. But it is sci-fi a wee bit too. Obviously, but there's crossovers and everything. Like, it's not just straight action for all these.
Was it not something like the opening scene? Like the director or one of the writers, the producers wanted to scrap it. Like originally they were gonna like show the Predator from the start or something. I think I remember reading something like that.
I don't know. I've never.
I think I might have heard that. Too.
They wanted to get rid of the opening scene and just have like show the Predator straight away on like a ship or something, instead of just have it shoot down or land.
I don't know. I've never read or heard anything about that.
I'm nearly sure I heard something like that too. They were going to put the Predator on screen from the beginning.
I'm certainly not.
It would have ruined the whole film, like, but
Jean-Claude Van Damme being in it would have been a better shit.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
It's some
I don't know.
parallel universe that happened.
You need to see this footage. I think when we go
We'll
off
go
air,
off air, we'll take a
I
look
will
at it.
show you.
He
this
looks like
footage.
Cell from Dragon Ball Z.
Well, that's
Like
that's
purple.
no, that's too generous.
All right,
This thing
right.
is awful. This thing's awful. Don't.
You're selling it on the fact that it's just complete testosterone throughout. What
No.
you need is more.
Come on, no, but it's not like
There's
you
only
just
so much testosterone you can take in a film.
And apparently, Predator's the limit, is it? Like
no, but this thing like this.
Expendables went over the limit.
This thing, if it went that way, this thing like it wouldn't be one of my top 5 films ever.
Yeah.
Just simply like
No,
you
I
you
enjoy
will
it.
see. I will show you all this like when we're off air.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah, I can't gush enough about this film, lads.
No.
I have not done even a shred of the justice that I thought I would do for it. Like, I fucking love this film.
Everyone go out and watch this film.
Quick side note: the Unreal soundtrack as well by Alan Silvestri.
Oh yeah,
Who had
master.
an absolute
yeah.
blinder in the 80s because he scored all 3 Back to the Future films.
Oh, that's decent.
That man's had his stamp nearly everywhere.
And
in
he's
Hollywood.
so prolific. He's still going. Like he just scored Avengers Endgame there.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
And he scored the first Avengers film on Infinity War as well.
That's decent,
He's,
like.
he's done a lot of really great work in like
Oh, he's been
superheroes and stuff.
everywhere. He's up there with like John Williams for me.
Oh,
He's
definitely.
God tier
Definitely.
composer.
The way the music like builds the tension in the film too is
Yeah.
deadly as well. Like.
Just that like
Yeah.
that 3 or 4 note like, and the drum beat, it's
Yeah.
like it's perfect.
It fits the movie so well. Like.
Yeah.
Gaz, putting you under pressure. Here we go. No pressure, big man.
You're up.
I was so on the fence doing research because I was like 2 films in mind.
Yeah.
I was originally gonna go with Commando,
Oh,
Which is it-
Commando's a great movie.
which is another Arnold staple. Like it's so over the top. Like if you want to talk like quintessential 80s action film, like not only does it jump the shark, but like he just grabs the shark and just pile drives it after jumping over. But like
See, now that's what you need for Predator.
Yes. but but no, as Thomas said before, I'm gonna go with RoboCop,
Fair enough.
the seminal classic. Mere not of the.
I was criticizing-
I do enjoy RoboCop a lot.
See, this is what I
Robocop's
said
great.
pre-recording here. I was like, I watched RoboCop. I say recently. It's probably somewhere within the last 2 years, and just watching it back a wee touch.
I watched it back, and the only part that doesn't age well is the other robot.
That lad, that's exactly what you weren't here
that's
for this.
part of its
The,
charm. That's
the
the
other
whole-
robot is the only thing that doesn't age well. Like
Yeah.
the actual like
RoboCop,
himself and like
yeah.
all the special effects and all age well.
Well, the
Like
RoboCop
the guy
has
getting covered in
We're on the
toxic
same-
waste is one of my favorite scenes. Like,
We're on the same page, Dev, because we talked about this before you arrived, because you're on time always, Christopher.
thank you.
But sorry, Gaz.
But no, that's part of its charm, the whole 209 like killer robot that goes haywire. But it's just a product of its time, basically. But
Oh, it is that.
just a wee bit of background in the film, like it's obviously came out in '87 on July 17th. Directed by Paul Verhoeven, who's a prolific Dutch director. And other notable works, he's done a lot of really good stuff in the 80s, most notably Total Recall.
I like Total Recall.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Another
Total
another
Recall.
Arnold film.
Do you think they just went and made like stupid amounts. Like, it was just action. This is what sells, just action movie after action.
yeah.
I
It's
don't
like
know.
Netflix now. They were just buying any idea for an action
Aye,
movie.
pretty much, aye. They're just saying, like, any sci-fi book released in the 80s.
Any murderer thing that's on Netflix now, this was like in the 80s for action films.
What, you want a movie with a guy and a gun and an evil foreign boss? No bother.
Yes.
Here's 100 million. Go make your movie. You go, guy.
I'd say the only dud that Paul Verhoeven has actually made is Showgirls.
Showgirls
That is
isn't a
right.
bad film.
And
I'm not
the,
going to pretend
the
like I
wrong,
know.
the right ways, you know. But it's pretty much a turd. Like, he also done Starship Troopers, which is
Love it.
another, which he actually.
I actually looked at Starship Troopers and realised it was a 90s movie.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
90s
90s
movie.
movie.
That's an 80s
So
movie.
Quite
Yeah.
sad when I see that.
It's a great film.
Really?
Great film.
Yeah.
I'd have pegged that as an 80s film.
Oh, no.
Like very late 80s, you know, maybe 88, 89.
What's the,
Maybe
are you talking
87,
about the
I
really
think.
scientific advanced aliens? Is that why you're going for the brain? No.
Oh,
Just,
Great film.
it screams
Killed by,
80s.
or captured by Zed. Go on, Zed.
Oh, Barney Stinson.
Oh, aye, straight aye. But he also had the composer Basil Poledouris who done the score and had the awesome RoboCop theme. People might be familiar with. And like something I noticed during the research was like some of these 80s films, like, they're not overly long. Like Thomas, you were saying, like Predators, like not even that long.
Hour and a half
Mine's an
was
hour and a
I
half,
was
aye.
pretty much like this, like
the
this,
standard.
stuck to it. Like it had a modest budget of like 13 million, and it made back 53.4 million at the box office,
That's not bad.
which is kind of good. Like in today's term, like didn't really lose money.
Nah, no, that's damn good. Like, that's a big old hit at the box
I
office
love
too.
the movie. Like, and the thing I like about RoboCop is how like dark and gruesome it is.
Yeah.
Like, haven't watched it back
Yeah.
maybe last year.
That
It's
scene.
bloodier than you remember.
Oh,
Oh,
that,
it's
like,
crazy.
you were saying you were 12 if you watched
Like, people
Predator.
getting
Like,
like their limbs shot off.
yes,
in it,
like
and
ATV, you're not supposed to show the uncut version of it, like at like
Aye.
10 o'clock at night. But I got like a young
when
child
I was a
watching.
kid and I watched it, I remember the toxic waste scene. The guy who gets covered in toxic
Oh,
waste scared the
oh,
absolute
Yeah.
poo out of
See,
me.
that's
Like,
what
That's the thing off
Yeah.
there I wanted to talk about. That
Yes.
scared the
And then he
absolute
goes,
dog out of me.
"Die," and he's like, Jesus Christ!
my young teenage self couldn't handle that.
No,
like,
no,
that was
traumatizing.
That was
Like, it was
traumatizing.
oh,
Your
my
man-
I couldn't look at that. I had to turn away.
I can't remember the actor's name, but he always used to scare the crap out of me. Do you know the guy that had like the bald head, receding
Oh,
hairline?
Kurtwood Smith, who played the dad in that 70s show.
Yeah, he scared the crap out of me in
Clarence
that film.
Bodiger. He's intimidating.
It's
Like,
scarier than that 70s show.
dumbass. But like the cast was great too. Like your man who plays Alex Murphy, like he just came off Buckaroo Banzai. Peter Weller, like his career was basically booming at that point. He also had Nancy Allen as Anne Lewis, who was pretty much the side character to him,
Mhm.
the foil basically. But actually, it starts off with like Peter Weller's character, Alex Murphy. The rookie cop just got transferred to Detroit,
Uh-huh.
the incredibly bad failing city that declared bankruptcy.
We got a crossover on my movie.
Like 87, but funny enough, Detroit actually did in real life declare bankruptcy, which
Alright.
is kind of a scary thing too.
Mm-hmm.
This whole film kind of actually did predict a lot of crazy things to happen.
Illuminati, here we go.
Just giving you a taste, get prepared. But he's a rookie cop, gets transferred to Detroit, and gets called to this abandoned warehouse or a shootout. Like,
That's right, aye.
Clarence Bodiger's gang basically stole a bunch of money, and the poor lad Benny, was it Benny? Bobby, sorry, yeah, accidentally burned the fucking money according to Kurtwood Smith's character Clarence Bodiger. Throws him on the windscreen while he's being pursued by Alex Murphy and Alan Lewis. Leads into this old abandoned steel mill, and they go patrolling, and then they come across the gang,
Uh-huh.
and Alex Murphy is brutally murdered.
It's quite possibly one of the goriest
Oh,
scenes.
it is
his
actually
arms
ever
getting
put the
blown
film.
off and
Oh,
he
it's
just
That's right, aye.
It is awful.
It's borderline ridiculous how many
It is over the
times
top,
he gets
yeah,
shot.
like for as bad as some of the like CGI is, there's not many more gruesome movies than that.
No,
There,
he's
there.
basically
And
used as a human target practice.
it's certainly I enjoy RoboCop. Like I would put it up there as one of the best 80s
Oh,
movies ever. Like it's great.
pretty good. Like.
It's,
Um,
you know,
There's certain parts haven't aged well, like that robot is.
Aye, it's bad,
this whole stop motion thing.
It's literally it looks terrible when it's clunking along.
yeah.
Like,
But,
but apart from that, the rest of
it was a
movie's
new
okay.
idea and all too. Like, it was a cool idea and all because it was a sort of like,
But they did
buddy cop
actually
stuff
use,
and all.
they did use like a real like full size scale model.
Yeah. See,
to
when
bring
it's
him in.
static in
Yes,
scenes,
yes.
when it's just standing still,
Yeah.
it looks great
Mhm.
then. But as the guys are saying, like the whole stop motion thing, it's really aged quite badly at this point. But
Aye.
doesn't take away from the film.
No,
to
definitely
me,
not.
like,
Definitely.
No, you
You
still
can
have to
definitely
find
still
enjoyment
watch
in
it,
it.
yeah.
It is class. But anyway, yes, human target practice on Alex Murphy. He's rushed to hospital, and he's also should introduce the supporting characters. Bob Morton, who's played by Miguel Ferrer, you may recognize from Hot Shots Part 2.
Oh, Part 2.
Part 2.
Another good film.
He
I
also,
think I've seen it.
he also
What?
played.
No, I've never
Seriously?
seen it either.
You need to watch Hot
I
Shots.
keep
It takes a
being
complete
told
piss.
to watch
First
it,
one
and I
takes
never
the
get round
piss
to
out
it.
of
I
Top
never
Gun.
will.
It's like they're spoof films.
Yeah.
First one takes the piss out of Top Gun.
Charlie Sheen and his pump.
And then the second one takes like Carol Bowles from
It's
like,
Rambo, wasn't
and
it?
stuff
Aye.
like that. Yeah. But anyway, getting off topic.
Well, this podcast always just veer in random directions.
City.
Never worry.
But yeah, Bob Morty's like he's like up and coming. What would you call him?
Like a rookie
Man in a
cat.
suit,
Like
basically.
a
Just
business
businessman,
tycoon.
Yeah.
hungry for power, wants to
Yeah.
climb the corporate ladder.
Yeah.
And he says like after like the failed experiment with Ed 209, who funny enough has the poor executive who gets murdered by Ed 209 after it goes haywire after a test.
That scene's so funny because, like, I always find myself watching that going, nobody reacts too badly to that. Like, he gets killed and
the
everybody's
one
like,
rational person.
well, that happened.
Getting a good paycheck.
Aye, the one rational woman who like wants to go over and investigate, make sure he's dead after being completely and totally riddled like multiple times, and then like, what should we call a doctor? What? Somebody call a doctor?
The
What?
humor in this film is quite
Someone
decent.
call the
Oh, it
undercover.
is like
it
the
is,
whole
It's
satire,
unintentionally funny.
the whole. I was like the whole like interspersed throughout the film, like there's like ads for different like play
I
toys.
buy
like,
that for $1.
like the whole children's like go like a. Can you imagine like a Monopoly set based in the Cold War?
Mm.
I'm like, I want to buy your nuclear silo for like oh, you're getting more military aid and all this here bullshit. But like, it's funny. Like that's just one of Paul Verhoeven's like what he's known for, spreading that kind of satire throughout his films. But anyway, Bob Mortimer says, "Hold on, I can do this better." But we incorporate like half man, half machine, basically.
Yeah, yeah.
So they get out. Funny enough, Alex Murphy's declared dead, and then they basically just
That's how they legally get around
because
it, isn't it?
OCP they
Yeah.
literally just it's established that they had bought the police force that before the whole film obviously starts, and so they basically own his body.
Yeah, yeah. That's right, down.
Kind of dark, the whole like future politics.
It's a wee bit dark.
It
That
is
film,
dark.
but it's a bit darker than you were,
That's
you know,
a lot. That's very gruesome.
and his wife and all, and
Right,
you're like,
right.
yeah. That's explored in the sequels. It's kind of dark too, but those sequels are dumb and shit.
the sequels are worse than the.
That's not great, like. But
It's probably going to become a reoccurring thing for all these film
Yes.
choices. The
Yeah.
sequels are
No, my sequel.
not that good.
Yeah. You can only do it once.
Yeah, well, yeah.
My movie did it twice.
Mine's got a three. Mine's got a three-peat.
You
Like.
know, I just want to say this, just on record. Predator 2 is good.
That's
It
not
is
bad,
good.
So's my second film. The
Predator
third
2
one's
is
horrendous.
Predator 2, if I remember correctly, being a young child watching it, opened with a vigorously hardcore sex scene.
Yeah, that's like about 25 minutes, 30 minutes in.
No,
How I know this timestamp? I don't know.
Interesting.
I didn't flick back to it occasionally for research purposes.
late at night.
Oh, Danny Glover, like absolutely king. I prefer Predator 2.
I love
If you want to talk about oily people in Predator, like Danny Glover is consistently sweating
Oh my
during
god.
that film.
Oh, that's so much.
Like-
Profusely.
But apparently he's going through a heat wave in that sequel. But
Oh yeah, that's
I nearly prefer Predator 2. That's my controversial
What?
take on it.
Right, okay.
Sorry.
That was a controversial take.
I let
That
Danny
is-
Glover not.
No.
But anyway, back
Sorry,
to the
guys.
top. You're grand, you're grand. So Bob Mortimer and his team at OCP rebuild Alex Murphy into the unstoppable killing machine, or potentially killing machine that they wanted to be, as RoboCop. They wipe his memory, or so they think they wipe his memory. First night in the job is a whole really cool montage of him stopping all these crimes, like a potential rape Oh, that's
I love the one where he shoots the guy through the dick.
Yep. That's the whole tangent.
I love montages.
You can't really serve hardcore justice any more than that. Like,
Dead or
man, you need
alive,
that.
you're
The
coming with me.
80s absolutely love montages. Like,
Oh,
I
that
think
is-
every
yes.
80s movie has at least one montage.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, it's
I love the
necessary.
Rocky montages. Like, in the
oh,
80s.
that's
Yes.
It's literally just a movie of like montages stuck together.
But that's it. And then throughout the film, RoboCop, he's starting to get his humanity back in more ways than one. Like Alan Lewis, when she sees RoboCop / Alex for the first time, she was up to him and saying, "Murphy, do you remember me?" And that, I'm paraphrasing obviously, but and then he kind of stutters and stammers and
He like glitches out.
yes,
almost.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
starts kind of reliving this whole like traumatic experience of being murdered. OCP, or like he's a machine, and then he's a cyborg. He shouldn't remember. He wiped his memory. And then he goes on the hunt. Throughout there's a whole another montage or flashback scene, if you will, of him remembering his murder, and like it's shot so well because like as soon as like he relives the home would have been the final shot from Clarence Boddicker, he snaps up, and that's it. I know who these people are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a hunt for him. So he systematically, similar part as the Predator, he is the Predator. He's hunting them down one by one and getting his revenge, or
Yeah.
he's arresting them sometimes. That doesn't
Sometimes more.
sometimes more. But yeah, and so many good scenes. Like, and in the man in charge who haven't of Ed 209 is Dick Jones, who's became a massive meme over the past few years.
Dick Jones made
Yes.
a mistake.
Who's played by Ronnie Cox, who had also another prolific career during the 80s and other films. that
Aye.
may or may
Do
not
you know
be
what I
mentioned
heard
here.
randomly? I don't know if this is actual fact, but I'll just throw it in for a wee tidbit. Apparently, the reason that all these dudes are still stupid rich, apparently, like, now this may or not be wrong, it's just something I heard him reiterating it. It was like, when they did contracts or whatever, like back in the 80s, things like that there for their film or whatever. Nowadays, obviously, you get your flat fee. It's like, right, we're paying you something like, I don't know, 10 million or whatever for this film that you're going to do.
Yeah.
But apparently back in the 80s, written into a lot of contracts was the prices were lower for individual actors, but they got a share on like part of the making of the movie or something.
Yeah, that's
Oh, aye, that
yeah.
was a thing, because I think that was Harrison Ford. He got paid like really,
Yeah.
really low for Star Wars,
Yeah.
but then got residual, like, you
Yeah,
know.
and apparently like every
benefits
time it
from it.
showed and stuff like that
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not
I
wrong.
think he only got like 9,000 or something for
Yeah,
Star
it
Wars,
was
and then
Sure, he was
very-
a carpenter, and then George Lucas said, "Oh, you're."
Yeah, he was on
Yeah.
set working or something.
Yeah, I think he was brought on literally
Yeah.
to read parts,
Yeah.
like, or, you know, for the other parts, you know, like they would be auditioning, say, the likes of like Mark Hamill, and then
Almost
he
like
would
the
come
stand-in.
in to read, like
Mhm.
stand in for like another character.
But I think Dave,
Crazy.
you mentioned there's another tangent, but you mentioned like an episode ago about the Friends reunion,
Yeah.
and like you said, like they wouldn't need any more money, but like. See if like a show was massive as Friends, see if they go over like 100 episodes, that show gets into syndication,
Right.
and so that's why it's shown all over the world, and they all get the rights or the
They get it.
residuals and the
uh,
the
They get a
royalties
piece
from
of the
that. That's
pie
why
still?
they're stinking. Like they don't have to work on a day of life.
Yeah.
That's class.
That's can you
that's
imagine
the
being-
same in like even music, like you know, Shane Garn from the Pogues can literally live off fairy tale New York the rest of his life.
I
Like,
think the-
Mariah
every
Carey, but
Christmas
too.
he gets like a big chunk of money in, and
like Metallica's Black Album, like it still sells every week, and like Jason Newsted and them are still
Yeah,
Getting-
raking in for it.
breaking in from that one album.
That's mental. Sorry, yes.
No, but back to Robo. But he hunts down them all. He goes through the police database, looking with the rap sheets and all that there. Tracks them down and captures them, and then he finds out through one way or another after raiding one of their drug dens and one of the coolest shootouts ever put to film. He finally tracks down Clarence Boddicker, and the whole thing about RoboCop, he can record
Mhm.
all anything he sees, and that's admissible as evidence, so it can be used to court against the person he's tracking down.
Yeah, yeah.
And so Clarence Boddicker, after being beaten to a bloody pulp, revealed that Dick Jones he's the whole mastermind behind the whole thing. He
Yeah.
works for OCP. So obviously RoboCop is going to track down the whole thing. Goes to Dick Jones' offices, and he's about to arrest Dick Jones. But the whole thing, RoboCop has like basically a set of parameters he
Yeah,
can't really
yeah, that's
do.
right. Aye.
The whole like serve the public trust, protect the innocent, and all that. And a fourth one that's he can't really see or act or see what it is. And that fourth one's revealed when he goes to arrest Dick Jones. He can't arrest a member of OCP,
That's right, aye.
which he secretly put in there. Being the sneaky little prick he is. And then he sets Ed 209 on him, and Ed 209 and Robo have not a great looking fight, but a fight nonetheless. A lot of stop motion, a lot of freeze frames and all that stuff. And then he gets beaten by Ed 209, and the Detroit Police Department is sitting there waiting for Robo, and they start just blasting him. And then Ann Lewis comes to his rescue after being riddled by the Detroit Police Department, bring him back to the original place where he was murdered in the steel mill. And then the big final shootout.
Yeah.
And the horrible traumatic scene of
The guy being
Emil
burned by acid.
getting destroyed by acid. But and there's during that scene, there's like near the end where RoboCop walks in water. There's all these religious parallels and all this stuff like that there. But just he kills Clarence Bodiger, gets his revenge being murdered by him, and then he goes to the OCP offices where Dick Jones is having a good presentation, saying like, "Oh, RoboCop bad, out 209 good," and then like, funny enough, he walks in and everybody's stunned to see RoboCop. He's obviously battle damaged from the whole shootout and the final showdown. Says, "I've got something to show you, lads." Not like that, obviously. Here, lads, I got a bit of video to show you. Sticks his evidence spike or whatever he has. I don't know why he would have something like that there, but basically the equivalent of today of a USB port in his hand. Sticks it in, shows all this.
Just a floppy disk.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
More advanced than a floppy disk.
He's a 6 foot fucking floppy disk. And shows Dick Jones basically confessing everything, not knowing. Well, he did know, but he thought Dead was going to take him down.
Yeah.
Dick Jones grabs the old man, who's played by veteran Western actor Dan O'Hurley. He's credited as the old man. He doesn't actually have a character.
Decent.
Takes him as a hostage, but obviously RoboCop can't hurt him, can't do anything. And then the old man says, "Dick, you're fired." And then RoboCop, "Thank you," and then just shoots him point blank in the head. He goes flying out the window on really bad claymation arms. Later, falls to his death, and then the whole thing's
80's action movie in the way to do it. Like.
It has a great ending because like it literally is Alex admitting to his humanity now. He's not RoboCop anymore. Like the old man says, "Good shooting, son," which is like a line he said in a western the old man acted in another film, and he says, "What's your name, son?" And then RoboCop turns and says, "Murphy," and then the film just ends. It's just a really cool way of closing. Like. But anyway, that's
Beating his heart.
that's RoboCop in a nutshell.
It's like it's so cheesy, it's good.
But it's just a really cool way of.
I love all the movies we're talking about here.
Aye, but it's nice. But just to spring off, like there's a wee bit of trivia that I wrote down. A lot of really weird things. You know the way like when actors get into like method and all that there.
Yeah.
Like during the whole production, like in between takes, like Peter Weller wouldn't like go by Peter. So like if you want to say, "Oh, Peter, we need you on set," we have to say to him, "Robo, we need you on set." You don't even refer to himself as Robo.
He's not the what do you call that actor that does it?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. No Daniel Day-Lewis. He's a real method actor too.
It's weird. The suit was so hot, like the whole RoboCop outfit he had to wear. Like Peter Weller was losing £3 a day just by the amount of moisture he lost. The scene where RoboCop has to like he's walking, he's all confident now, and he gets thrown the keys to one of his police cruisers. That took 50 takes to get right because his hands were made of rubber, so he couldn't get a good drop.
That would be so frustrating.
Come on, 49 takes later. All right, take it from the top. I'm like, it's just annoying. But funny enough, for the first teaser trailer, the music used was the Terminator theme.
Oh,
It
really?
came out, it came out in '84.
I'm glad that they switched that. It's so hard to RoboCop that.
It's both both robots.
Yeah, true.
And one of the scenes where Kurtwood Smith's character Clarence Bodiger is going to going through Dick Jones' office after being thrashed by Ed 29. The secretary he starts flirting with is actually his in real life wife.
Oh, really?
Yep. And in one of the montage scenes, RoboCop goes to stop a robbery in progress.
Mhm.
It's in an old local liquor store, and the robber goes by. In order to start the robbery, he's like picking up things on just a normal person, not going to rob anything. And one of the things he picks up is a issue of Iron Man, which is parallel to RoboCop because a man gets injured.
All right. Okay.
RoboCop gets murdered, obviously, and they both have to use machinery to bring themselves back to.
A couple of
normal.
Easter eggs like that.
So
That's pretty cool.
that's just a wee bit of RoboCop trivia.
Fair enough,
pretty
huh?
cool,
That's why I think it's one of the best 80s action
Oh,
films.
it is.
Good work,
I
Jazz.
do enjoy
Good work.
RoboCop.
I feel
Big
bad.
debut.
My pitch was nowhere.
You got too excited.
I did get too excited. By the way,
I didn't wanna
because of
run-
that, I'm going to
run through
litter
the whole-
Predator things throughout.
Fair enough. Okay.
That's fair.
Up you go, Big Dev.
Well, mine could be easier to litter Predator things in because mine's also an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Ooh.
And as Guy was saying there, it's Terminator.
Oh, lad. Yes.
Lad, every single time we do a podcast, something falls and it's always your fault. What is this?
That was my mobile phone that time. But yeah, I've chosen Terminator, the first Terminator,
Love it.
84. If we were ever do best action 90s movies, I might also pick Terminator 2.
Oh, easy,
But,
easy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So I was torn between a few when I went for Terminator. The three that I was looking to pick, obviously Die Hard I've mentioned, because it is just a great movie. And then I also wanted to pick Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh,
because it's an
I was gonna pick
absolute
that.
Sean will love that.
I was gonna pick that, but then I thought Sean would have
Sean
done
will
that
love He
Yeah,
would
so
yeah,
much
yeah.
better. Like.
So I decided, no, I'm gonna stick with Terminator.
Nice.
So
Great choice.
Terminator, obviously written and directed by James Cameron,
Oh, man.
absolute legend. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator. Michael Biehn, Michael Biehn is it? As a
Good
Kyle
effort, Deb.
Reese. And Linda Hamilton, obviously, as Sarah Connor. I just watched Terminator actually today and sort of getting ready for this, and I forgot how good that movie is.
It's a good cast, like you know,
There's a lot,
it's a good cast made up of people probably then quite unknown.
Mhm.
maybe.
And I enjoy it too because it's very different from the other Terminator movies.
Oh, so
You know,
different.
it's sort of
So much
sort of
darker and
it's,
grittier, you know.
it sort of
That's
stands
street
alone
level
on its
thing.
own in the whole Terminator like world.
It does. Yeah.
And you know, Arnie as a villain is great. Like you know, him as a Terminator is class.
Yeah.
And Linda Hamilton obviously is great as Sarah Connor. And you know, mainly throughout the story, you're following her arc.
Yeah.
So at the start, you know, she's just a normal sort of woman. You know, she's
She's a waitress.
she's a waitress. She's you know.
You don't.
She's
think
afraid of what's going on, and you know, obviously terrified of the Terminator, and you know, just a normal person. And then you see her grow throughout the movie into the badass she becomes, and
Yeah.
obviously later movies down the line. But the basic plot of it is Arnold Schwarzenegger's Terminator sent back through time.
Sorry, you've done that already, guys.
Oh, the soundtrack, so good.
Oh,
But basically Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Terminator, sent back through time to kill Sarah Connor because Sarah Connor's son, John Connor, eventually becomes the savior, the guy who destroys Skynet in the future.
Yeah.
So they sent Arnie's character back to kill her, and then obviously Kyle Reese was sent back to protect her. So the whole movie, you know, Kyle Reese finds Sarah Connor before the Terminator, and then it's sort of them trying to escape the Terminator. And it's got some really memorable scenes, like the police station when Kyle Reese is being interviewed, and
Absolutely terrifying, like this unkillable, emotionless thing just chasing you through the police station.
and the Terminator. Arnold is the perfect actor to play the Terminator.
Yeah.
Like he just looks like a machine.
They couldn't have cast it better.
Oh,
No,
no,
definitely
absolutely hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Not to go in on your pitch, Mom, but you were mentioning there, you know, the way like Kyle Reese has been sent back in time as well as the Terminator. Something I love about the film is the fact that up until a certain point, you know, if you didn't know at all, you know, like Arnold's role, like what it became and all that, like you were probably stuck on who's the Terminator. You know, which one is the Terminator,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they both look human, and
Aye.
like, is it just the big obvious Hulk of a man, or is it the small sort of trimmer dude? Like,
Although I like how whenever the landing scenes, whenever you know Arnold's Terminator lands, he lands real cool with the fist on the ground, and
Yeah.
he gets up looking like this big bulk man.
The original
And then-
Iron Man pose.
Guy Kyle Reese literally just falls from the sky and lands in just a mess on the ground.
He's wrecked, like. He's
Yeah.
very finesse.
But yeah, the scene in the police station, it's quite funny when Kyle Reese is getting, you know, interviewed and telling them that he's back from the future to protect her, and there's a Terminator back, and you know everyone just laughing at him, thinking he's a lunatic. But then, the Terminator comes into the police station and says, he wants to see Sarah Connor, he's a friend. The guy's like, no, you'll have to wait. And then the famous "I'll be back" line.
Oh yeah.
And then he leaves the police station and just comes driving straight through the front of it with the car.
I didn't know the police station had a drive-through.
Yeah, and just straight in through the thing, and then goes up and wipes out. I think they said in the movie there was 30 police in the police station, so he goes in and just wipes them all out.
Yeah, he's just
And
all down.
then the guy, Kay Reese and Sarah Connor escape, and it's some great scenes in the movie. Even the final scene whenever the Terminator is chasing him in the big oil rig,
That's
and
right,
it gets blown up, and you think, right, that's it, dead now, and then literally melted,
yeah.
and then it just gets up as the metal exoskeleton and starts chasing them again, and through the factory, and then it gets cut in half and still chasing her until finally she just squashes it
It's my turn to shit on the effects now.
The effects in Terminator hold up much better than the effects in RoboCop.
The whole sound design in the Terminator, especially that end scene, they're not what do you call it? Hydraulic press machine.
See, the skeleton version of the Terminator kind of has aged poorly. Slightly.
It's aged somewhat,
but it's not.
It's
not
as
bad as other movies.
Even the repair scenes, remember, Arnold's repairing his eye and all that.
Plus, this movie's older than RoboCop. RoboCop stands up better than RoboCop.
Fair point. You're not one in an age.
I agree to disagree.
But the movie's just it's one of my favorite movies, as you were saying. Arnold Schwarzenegger's one of his most famous roles and famous movies, and this and Terminator 2. I like them both sort of equally. A lot of people like Terminator 2 better. Some people like Terminator 1. I like them both equally.
I have a massive confession to make. I only seen the Terminator, the first one, for the first time 1 or 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah,
You're as bad as Vest. You're filming this really perfectly.
I only seen bits and pieces of it, and then our mutual friend Sean showed it to me. I already knew it was a good film because I've seen bits and pieces of it, but never seen it in completion yet.
Yeah, literally, it just follows Sarah Connor's arc basically from the start, where she's sort of terrified, and then, throughout it, Kay Reese sort of almost trained her to become this leader that she has to be.
Yeah.
And then you see that sort of carried on more in the second film, where she's just an absolute badass, and she sort of trains her son and fighting more Terminators, and
and now there's 18,000 Terminators.
Even right at the sort of end of it, at the end of the film, you sort of see her pregnant with Kay Reese's baby, who's obviously John Connor, and
twist. What kind of twist?
That is.
It's pretty cool.
But the sex scene was good too.
This podcast has went weird.
But so then you sort of see Sarah Connor pregnant, carrying the baby, and they were like, "Oh, a storm's coming," and she's just like, "I know," and then drives badass into the storm, and you're just like, "Yeah, she's now just a badass," and then obviously she's the main badass in the second film.
Yeah.
But I just love the original Terminator. And a lot of other people do too. It's 100% in Rotten Tomatoes.
100%.
100% in Rotten Tomatoes.
You disagree, obviously.
There's a need for Rotten Tomatoes.
8 out of 10 in IMDb, 84 in Metacritic. I don't usually agree with online critics or anything.
But you use them when they make a point.
I use them whenever I make a point.
Okay.
I pulled them straight out from a Pulp Fiction one as well.
No, you did.
But it's just one of the best sci-fi action movies ever made. The music by Brad Fiedel as well. He did both Terminators, and he also did the Gladiator movie. And the soundtrack for it's real good.
Which Gladiator film?
Russell Crowe.
Hans Zimmer done the score for that.
Oh, well, it just said Gladiator when I was searching it up. So one of the Gladiator films.
Alright, sorry. That's my soundtrack nerd. Main popping in, but he's a really nice guy. Got to speak to him on Skype.
That Brad Fiedel?
He's actually a really nice guy.
Because he did the both.
Tell him to listen to our podcast.
And the soundtrack for Terminators are great. It just builds suspense brilliantly. And throughout the whole movie, suspense is built brilliantly. Because it's just the Terminator always sort of chasing her down and chasing them down, and some of the car scenes and chase scenes in it are really cool. Just the whole movie is really well shot. James Cameron's obviously a genius,
I'm gonna shoot horn in another Predator fact. James Cameron is the reason why the Predator has mandibles on its face, them
when his mouth opens.
Yeah,
okay.
Him and Stan Winston, plane ride. He suggested it. Now the rest is history.
Okay,
that's actually pretty cool.
James Cameron's a pretty good director, and pretty good screenwriter and all that there, correct?
Yeah.
I heard he's pretty intense on set too.
I'd believe that.
But Terminator's up there with Big Trouble in Little China.
I was heavily considering doing Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, the three I was considering doing it. Like,
I've never watched that.
if we're discussing
What?
the best,
I've never watched.
if we're discussing,
I need to go.
you need to. That's Kurt Russell's finest achievement.
And it's also aged horribly.
Shut your damn mouth.
It is possibly the cheesiest and most over the top of all 80's action movies,
it's
which
really.
is crazy considering how cheesy and over the top all 80's action movies are.
Oh, it goes deep. Like
It
it
gets
starts off with like it's mental.
It gets real magic in it.
I need to watch
Raiden.
this.
It's the grandpa from Three Ninjas. You ever see that?
Yeah, oh, lad,
But like, when I was thinking about it, I thought, probably the right option would be Die Hard. The option that I wanted to go for was Big Trouble in Little China, but then I was like, what combines them both is Terminator, because it's not only could be argued to be the right option of the best 80's action movie, but it's also one of my favorite movies, so it did fit the bill nicely.
I enjoyed that pitch, Dave.
Yeah. All good, Dev. That you? All done? Okay. So I went a wee bit off, not too much off. I went with action comedy for mine. I went with Beverly Hills Cop.
Good choice again.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy.
Breakout star.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it's an action comedy, and this was Eddie Murphy's first solo lead role. He had co-starred in movies previously, namely Trading Places with Dan Aykroyd. If anybody's watched it, it's pretty good. It's
48 Hours as well.
Yeah, I think so, lad. That was in around about 1983, but this was his lead until superstardom for Eddie Murphy, really.
Lethal Weapon's better.
Shut your mouth. Just a wee bit of background on Eddie Murphy. This is him in his absolute pomp. He had already been in the stand-up scene for You alright over there, Tom?
Just out of nowhere, like just a stab in the back.
You do this all the time.
It's Dave's fault.
But he had been in the stand-up scene already for a right few years, and he had been
Mel
involved.
Gibson, are we talking about Lethal Weapon?
No, we're talking about Eddie Murphy, Dave. Not, Mel Gibson got in a pile of trouble for some anti-Semitic comments one time.
What?
Allegedly.
It's not alleged at all.
No, that happened.
But so he'd already been in stand-up for a few years, and he was involved with SNL. He was this is obviously SNL when it was good.
Part of the main cast.
Yeah. He was firstly a cast member, and then he went on to host it as well for a period of time. Around this time, obviously, too, he released his first two comedy albums. The first being his own name, Eddie Murphy, and then the second one, which is probably one of the two that everybody knows, is Delirious in 1983. He went on and did Raw as well. It was absolutely fantastic.
One of the skin suit, basically.
Oh yeah, it was the purple one, and then Delirious, I think, was the red one. Unbelievable. But Beverly Hills Cop was released in 1984, and it's as 80's action movie as it goes. Like it's
cheese.
It's cheese.
Cheesy soundtrack, cheesy dialogue, cheese.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Tom, you haven't watched it.
I have not. No.
It's like a 4 cheese pizza. Like
It's what I
need. Dripping with cheese.
It's unbelievable.
I do need to obviously go home and watch.
You've got a reading list or a watch list.
Yeah.
It was released in 1984, and the plot is basically a Detroit cop who's breaks the rules, sort of
I don't play by the rules, boss.
He doesn't play by the rules at all, and he goes to Beverly Hills to investigate the murder of his friend who was visiting him, Mikey. That's basically all you need to know about the film. That's the whole setup of the film. It's fantastic because I really enjoy it because you can it beats on ITV a lot. You can just literally sit down. It's a bit like Back to the Future 2, lad.
It's probably on right now.
Yeah, pretty much. ITV bought like 10 films. We're going to show these for the next 10 years.
Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. You can sit down and watch it at any time. It's still funny. This is a very young Eddie Murphy, by the way.
Incredibly young.
He's so baby faced in it. Like,
he became a full professional stand-up at the age 20, 21. Like that takes like most normal comedians at least till their late 30s or mid 30s even become.
This was him at 23, and he'd already been a part of
incredible stuff.
Unbelievable. He's one of the godfathers of comedy, and it's really good. He's coming back now, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I
still got
Murphy.
Yeah,
most people lose their
comedy ages. Their comedy ages a bit at times, but yeah,
Jerry Seinfeld.
there's some great scenes and great characters in the film. One of my personal favorites is Inspector Todd, who's completely unhinged.
I love Inspector Todd.
Everybody
Angry
loves
black captain.
angry black captain who just completely chews him out. It's absolutely fantastic. Like,
That just sounds like Ice Cube.
oh lad, I'm telling you, it's absolutely fantastic.
Infiltrate the dealers. Man supplies.
The opening scene to the film is fantastic. It's Axel Foley, who is the character as Eddie Murphy's played by, and he is selling cigarettes out of the back of a lorry which is stolen, and he's trying to sell them to some like local Detroit gangsters or whatever, and he gets busted by cops while he's doing it. There's like a car chase, all that sort of carry on, and it just shows you that he's a wee bit calamitous at the same time too. You know, he was undercover and all, and
Yeah,
he was trying to.
a wee bit unhinged.
Oh yeah.
With the background of like the heat is on.
Oh, the heat. Oh, lad, I downloaded it on Spotify there yesterday.
Like it's so good.
I haven't seen Beverly Hills Cop in a long time. I must give it a wee
That's a great
It's a
watch.
brilliant one. Lad.
Oh, it is. I've seen it a few times. Like, just, when you haven't seen something in maybe 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like,
There's another. Then he
you're saying
obviously.
things there, just bringing it all back to me.
His friend, he gets in trouble with the Sergeant Todd, and he sort of, he goes on the rip with his friend who came from out of town. His friend broke into his apartment. They go on the rip together, and then his friend ends up getting he turns up with German bearer bonds, and he stole them. He's just got out of prison as well too. So this is his mate, and they're catching up or whatever. He has been working in Beverly Hills. He finds that out, and then there's a hit put on him and carried out pretty much, pretty swift into the film anyway. Then obviously Eddie's pissed at this. The cop, Sergeant or Inspector Todd, doesn't want him involved in the case. He then goes to Beverly Hills to investigate, and he meets up with his friend Jenny, isn't it Jenny?
Yeah.
And he goes to the art gallery. There's a funny wee scene in the art gallery too with a gay fella named Serge.
Wait a minute, he's gay.
Serge is gay, and Serge is absolutely hilarious. There's a theme that runs through this and all of these, and the whole way through the movie. He just completely bluffs his way into getting to do what he wants. He shows up at the Beverly Hills Palms Hotel or whatever it is, and doesn't have a room booked, and he goes in and goes on an absolute tirade, and then gets a suite for the for the price of a regular room.
Uses the old race card.
Yeah, he uses the old race card, surely. He's doing an interview. He's an out of town, or what is it? He's a journalist that's doing an interview with Michael Jackson and all that sort of carry on. So this happens. He also wants to. Victor Maitland is the bad guy in this film, and he gets into Victor Maitland's offices or whatever by pretending that he's a flower delivery guy, and he's like, flower delivery's my life, I should take them up, and all. He goes and questions him.
He like putting on like a bit of
That's in the what do you call it? That's in the
segment, is it?
I think that's in the what do you call it? The country club bit, is it not?
Oh, the country club.
The country club
yeah.
bit. He meets, obviously he gets arrested at this point. He meets the two other sort of main characters in the film as well, who are Taggart and Rosewood. These are like two, one's an older and then one's a younger Beverly Hills cop. They're living in Beverly Hills. There's no crime, so they're very straight shooters and stuff. This sort of carry on.
That's class.
And they're very Taggart's a wee bit more haggled and old and stuff, where Rosewood's very green and stuff like this here. So it's absolutely hilarious. There's the scene with the banana in the tailpipe.
That's a great scene.
Never heard of a banana tailpipe.
He knows that they're tailing him basically, and he sends down like a late supper. He goes to his hotel room, sends him a late supper, and he then puts a number of bananas in the tailpipe of the car. So when he goes to drive away, they can't catch him or whatever.
Why haven't I watched this?
Lad, it's
so
freaking
good.
hilarious film, and it will crack you up. Like,
It is good.
it moves along. Then there's the next one, the next sort of iconic scene in it, which is the one in the strip club, and then busting like after getting away from them. He goes to the United States Customs area in Beverly Hills as well. Blags his way into it, goes nuts about how the hell can a guy dressed like me just walk into a customs office? He was going to give me a match, and he wants to
be like a security advisor.
he's a security, advisor basically or whatever. Goes off there too, So this is a common thing that happens in this film.
Master of disguise.
Master of improv.
He just literally wears a t-shirt and a little hoodie and stuff, and he just walks in everywhere pretending to be all these different people. But there's the scene with the strip club too. They bust. He comes back or whatever, and they go to a strip club together. Him, Rosewood, and Taggart, and they bust like a potential robbery that's going to happen. There's these two guys coming in trench coats, and they bust the robbery or whatever. He goes in and lies till the head cop in Beverly Hills about what didn't happen, but he said actually happened to get the other two guys because they shouldn't obviously be in a strip club whilst tailing him on duty or whatever. But they get kicked off the case and all. It just basically it ends out that there's like he gets his revenge on the guy Victor Maitland. There's a big shootout at the end of the film, so that's why it's action. He goes to like Beverly Hills house and there's like a shootout in this really fancy mansion. Absolutely fantastic. But it's an absolutely fantastic film. You can sit down and watch it any time. Eddie Murphy's in his absolute prime in this film. He's hilarious the whole way through.
It's actually prime Eddie Murphy.
His laugh in this film, you can't even do it.
I know, I don't want to do this.
His laugh in the film is absolutely hilarious. You laugh just by him laughing.
Just his charm, like he's just incredibly like.
It's fantastic.
Likeable person.
I've got a few fun facts written down that I'll get in a wee second that kind of make this even better from acting standpoint. There's a running joke through it as well about him being on vacation. All this is he took some time off because he wanted to go solve the film or the murder as well.
Isn't that like a guy back in Detroit covering for him?
Yeah, there's a guy back in Detroit covering for him.
The guy who plays thing in Aliens.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, that's right enough. And then the second one, he drives his Ferrari around town for him and all that carry on. But the film's brilliant. And the reception for it was absolutely ridiculous. Like I only found this out like researching it. Obviously, it's not going to beat yours, but it's going to beat yours. I think for reception at the box office, which is completely mental for an action comedy.
Like action comedy back in the 80s where nobody had cell phones, like or smartphones, like prime real estate.
Oh, definitely that. And I mean, like it just shows you the size that Eddie Murphy was at this time. So the reception at the box office was it did 15 million in its first 5 days. And then in total, it did 234 million in the domestic North American box office.
Just domestic?
Yeah, just domestically. The size of this film.
Okay, it's beat my film.
But lad, I didn't know this.
But it's not a better film.
Look, I didn't know this. Like, I just was like, I'll do Beverly Hills Cop. I really enjoy Beverly Hills Cop. Did the research, and it was like it's beat like a crap load of movies as far as how many sales it did, and I was completely blown away by the fact that that's how much it made.
Do you have the worldwide numbers or no?
No, lad, that's all I took down there.
Small wonder it got sequels then.
Yeah, well, the second one did okay. It wasn't too bad. I enjoyed the second one alright. The third one, absolutely horrendous. Yeah. But Axel Foley was ranked number 78 on Empire magazine's 100 greatest movie characters of all time. It has a 82% in Rotten Tomatoes. I've got a few fun facts for you about which one of them is going to be pretty damn good.
I think I know what you're going to say. It
was first offered to Mickey Rourke, the part of Axel Foley, right?
Are you serious?
Swear to God, right?
Was he offered money or cocaine?
It was probably a mixture. So it was first offered to Mickey Rourke, and then after that, it was offered to Sylvester Stallone. So Sylvester Stallone was he wanted to make it a Sylvester Stallone movie where it just went like there's very little actual action in this film. There's a few car chases, different things that got there. There's a big shootout at the end, but Stallone wanted to go full Stallone and like go Rambo with this.
That's literally because he saved Rambo. Like Rambo was going to be absolute shit. There was like a 3.5 hour cut,
right?
And there was no action. It was all like drama and all that there. But obviously there's drama in the film, but he put in all the action and stuff.
Right. Oh well, he wanted to do this.
Rambo's another one that you get a shout out here for.
Fair point.
I've never watched any of them.
That's
dear Lord,
dreadful.
But
I'm more of a Schwarzenegger guy.
But Stallone, he was looking to turn this into like a complete, just insane action film with massive car chases, giant shootouts, all this sort of carry on, just a proper 80s action movie. But the budget was only in around 14 million, and they basically couldn't afford to do what Stallone wanted to do. So Stallone pulled himself out 2 weeks before filming was due to begin. So Stallone pulled out last minute on them basically, and then obviously they offered it to Eddie Murphy. Which is absolutely crazy for the performance that Eddie Murphy puts in that film, and how brilliant it is, how well it's done, and everything. He did it basically with 2 weeks' notice, which is absolutely nuts.
That is man.
Credit to his talent.
Shot is shot, obviously.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Seen the opportunity, and
they paid him a dong load of money, right enough. I think they give him, but the budget for the film was like 14 million, and they give him 4. So they give Eddie Murphy 4 million, which is absolutely nuts.
80s money.
And it's third all time in gross for an R-rated film behind The Exorcist and The Godfather. So that's how. It's an R-rated film, which is a wee bit mental too. I didn't know
I was
that.
trying to say what actually was the rating for the film.
It's an R-rated film, which I didn't get. There's not. there's not many scenes in it that are.
Compared to RoboCop.
There's not like big sex scenes in it. There's not any sex scenes in it. I don't think.
There's plenty of cursing.
There's a
Like,
couple
Plenty
of
of
good
person, and then there's a big shootout, but it's not massive. But I thought that pretty crazy too. The third grossing R-rated film
that's pretty mental.
behind The Exorcist and The Godfather. It did absolutely insane at the box
That's
office. Like,
incredible. That's just domestic gross. Like, imagine worldwide.
oh, absolutely nuts. The second one obviously didn't do as well, and the third one was a complete flop. I think it was like 1994 or something.
It was like dumbed down.
The second one was good when he moved into the house.
Aye.
And like, you know, the people were away again. He started living in a like absolute mansion, and the family were out on vacation or whatever it was. But no, absolutely fantastic film as well. And you can sit down and watch Beverly Hills Cop anytime. I have lost count the amount of times that I've watched that film. And Eddie Murphy, and it's just absolutely class.
Is it the first or second film that has like the henchman?
Which the first one he's got a henchman in.
That's Meg Ehrmantraut from Breaking Bad. A young Meg.
It is, yeah, right. No, so it is, yeah.
He's class, like.
He was the one that killed Mikey.
Yeah.
No, it's a really good film. There's Axel Foley's laugh, which is absolutely hilarious in it, and then there's Tom, you haven't watched it, but you remember this from school. Do you remember the Crazy Frog song? Right, it's that, but not horrific. The soundtrack is unbelievable. Like the soundtrack in it.
I would say it's better than the third film's version of Axel. The third film's
what's
version
that
is
actual
so
song
bad.
called?
I can't remember.
Lolas or something?
No idea.
It's called Axel F by Harry Faltermeyer. He was another composer during the 80s. He's really.
This is why you're here.
You know these things.
But that's it. So we've got all four done.
To be fair, anyone out there who's listening to this podcast who hasn't watched any of these four movies,
We've got a person in the room that hasn't watched like two of them.
It has to be done.
Three we've mentioned.
But
RoboCop's
the
great,
best
Predator
one.
great, Terminator great, Beverly Hills Cop great.
Predator's the best.
That's back to
Also, we shout out to a few of the other films that were mentioned.
Commando.
On that.
which is the same mansion used in Beverly Hills Cop shootout at the end.
Oh really?
Yep, same shootout.
That's decent, That's good. No, that went well, anyway, fellas. Gary, it was good to have you on, lad.
I'm happy.
You did well.
It was great.
You did well.
Very fun.
Again, we're plugging away. We're putting our podcast out. We've got up on iHeartRadio. We're
Still waiting on Spotify.
Spotify are taking their sweet time. But everything's going well, people. Give us like a follow on our socials, which is Twitter at the Irish Gays Podcast, the same on Instagram.
Yeah, if you're on YouTube, like, share, subscribe, and hit the wee notify bell, and it'll let you know whenever we put a new video up.
Big Dave slogging
Which will
away
be
there.
every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Yeah, Mondays are our nerd culture, Tuesdays are American sports, and Thursdays
Thursdays
we'll
are
have our regular
football.
football. So, give us a like, give us a comment, let us know that you're enjoying it, all that sort of carry on. And that was pretty good, fellas. Well done, Gary.
And everyone, let us know your favourite 80's action movie in the comments
Yeah.
as well.
Bestie, we're getting ready. I want you to
You've
know
been
that.
replaced.
That'll do, lads. Everybody say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Stick around.
I'll be back.
Good lord.